Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to continue the Entryway Makeover series and show you this DIY shelf I made for our entryway, and we're kind of using it as a table. So if you're interested in seeing how we do this, then keep on watching. So you want to start off by sanding your piece of timber down. We used a stair tread that we picked up from Home Depot. It was nice and thick and already not too long. And my husband just hammered some nails into the end so that we could prop it up when I was staining it, so I could stain the top and the bottom. Next, I went and distressed it. You can see me here using a hammer and a piece of rebar. I wanted a rustic look, so I did a fair bit of distressing on it. And this is how we've sort of propped it up so that I can paint on all sides. Next, you want to take all the sanding dust off. I didn't do too much sanding. I wanted a fairly rustic look, but you can see here how the distressing turned out. Next, onto the staining, and you want to make sure you wear gloves for this or you're going to destroy your hands and your manicure. I'm just using a rag, a lint-free rag, to apply the stain, and I'm rubbing it in. Then you want to wipe off any excess, but I will say that not a lot of excess came off using this method of rubbing it into the wood. I'm also really getting it in on the ends. If the ends of your piece of timber are rough like mine, then you kind of have to dab it at times to really get it to sink in. And the colour I'm using is Dark Walnut by Minwax, and it's just their regular wood stain. Because I'm going for a rustic look, I will say that I didn't try to rub the stain in particularly evenly. If you want a more even coating than what I've had, you might want to start with a wood conditioner, which Minwax also do, and that will help you get a sort of cleaner, more polished result. But I liked the rustic look. So here is how it looked after one coat of stain. I just stuck with one coat. I didn't do a second because this was dark enough for me. And I really love how you can see all the whorls and the imperfections in the timber and all the distressing that I did. Next, it's time to seal the stain in, and for this I'm using polyurethane by Minwax in a satin finish. Make sure you give it a good stir and never shake it because that will create bubbles. And I'm just applying it with a natural bristle paintbrush in long strokes going on the length of the shelf. For this project, I did 2 coats of polyurethane overall, and I will say that this was actually the most time-consuming part of the project, just due to the drying time between coats. So after your first coat has dried, you need to leave it for at least 12 hours. You want to go in and sand it back just lightly with some, I use 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm just sanding it on the top and all the sides. And then wipe off the sanding dust before you go on to your second coat of poly. After you've applied your final coat of polyurethane, you do need to leave it for 24 hours, but follow the instructions on the product that you use. My result wasn't super smooth, but that was fine for me because I wanted a rustic look. Next, it's time to hang it in our entryway. So my husband here is just putting up some wrought iron brackets that I picked up off Amazon. These are handmade and I think they're really beautiful. I love how they looked overall, and they're really heavy and really good quality. And he's just making sure they're level here. It's really important to go through the steps of making sure your brackets are level so that your shelf is not lopsided at the end. And he's also mounting a couple of hooks underneath the shelf. These are by the Hearth and Hand by Magnolia line at Target. They look like railroad spikes that have been made into hooks, and I love how they complement the wrought iron brackets of the shelf. So overall, this was a very easy DIY. It took me a couple of days with the drying time for the stain and the poly, but it was fairly cost effective and I really love how it turned out. If you do too, I would love if you could give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching everybody, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.